Hello everybody and welcome back to the F1 2021 Co-op Career Mode Season 4 with me, Dan, and my co-commentator Nick as always, and the graphics provided by Matt Amos and Lom1138. It's time for round 6 today in Montreal for the Canadian Grand Prix, a circuit which we typically perform very well at, and hopefully we'll try and pull off a good result today. So far it's been a bit of a struggle this season, sitting in backmarker teams. There were no regulation changes last season, so all of the cars have pretty much returned to the same level that they would be in a standard game start of the season. So Haas and Alfa Romeo doing pretty poor. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you know when the next video is uploaded, and of course comment down below what was your highlight of the Grand Prix. We move on to the starting grid order, and on the front row it's Lewis Hamilton leads ahead of George Russell for another race of Mercedes and Red Bull at the front. Then we've got Daniel Ricciardo and Lando Norris starting behind them on the second row. Moving back, Carlos Sainz once again moves up into 5th place with the McLaren and Charles Leclerc alongside him. Then it's the other Ferrari of Yuki Tsunoda, and Sergio Perez is the first of the Alpines. Esteban Ocon follows him in the other Alpine, and then rounding out the top 10 is Max Verstappen. Then we have Radiant Slothz with another good qualifying in the Alfa Romeo, and Pierre Gasly. Behind him, Justin Freshbot in the Haas and Nicholas Latifi in AlphaTauri. Good qualifying for Justin Freshbot. Then we have Lance Stroll and Nikita Mazepin in the Williams. Antonio Giovinazzi and then Guan Yu Zhou in the other McLaren, another poor qualifying and penalty. And Valtteri Bottas and Mick Schumacher round out the back row. Let's get on with today's Canadian Grand Prix. It's Canada. What was his
Justin Freshbot starting 13th.
Radiant Slothz in 11th place. Alpine taking a swipe at the other.
There's a massive going on. What a dive bomb. What a move. He's made 17 overtakes. There's contact.
Radiant Slothz
has hit someone.
He gets stuck to Pierre Gasly. Unbelievable.
There's a green flag waving.
Justin Freshbot.
That means go.
Puts a Haas into 11th place. Unbelievable. It is favourite circuit on the Canada. I speak English. On board with Radiant Slothz.
Around the calendar racetrack. There goes Justin Freshbot. He's gone. Radiant Slothz crashes into him and then crashes into someone else and almost spins.
Gets hooked on someone.
And he's dropped back.
Quite shocking. This is Justin Freshbot with this incredible dive bomb. Completely catches
very
Radiant
late
off.
On the brakes.
Radiant Slothz completely off guard.
And then he's looking for an overtake on the Williams as well, but he doesn't have the power up the hill.
That was
what a start.
Max
what
Verstappen
a man.
there. Radiant Slothz chased down by Nikita Mazepin. He's got Lance Stroll in front of him, another winner from turn 1. Guan Yu Zhou, for whatever reason, for the second race in a row, starting in the lower reaches of the grid, and will have to fight his way through the field. Presumably another engine penalty. As Radiant Slothz, he's got the move on Stroll. Has he got the straight line speed?
Stroll going very slowly here, you have to say. Does he have problems, or is that just Lance Stroll?
I think
Radiant Slothz has even overtaken him.
I think he's being cautious.
Stroll is carrying on.
Remember last time he did crash into a very obviously slow-moving car on the straight. As we see Radiant Slothz hunting down his former teammate. He's hit the wall there. Could be some damage. Let's have a look as he goes past. There is a shark bite out of the front wing.
Radiant Slothz here, showing why he's been kicked out of 2 teams. What a driver. Straight into the wall. It's painted yellow. How did he not see it?
Carried way too much speed. He gets way over the curb there. Could have spun the car out.
He's on the back of Justin Freshbot here. Both of them have DRS, but one car is noticeably faster than the other despite having the same engine.
He goes deep into the chicane. It's cost him. He's going to have to try and make up for it in the hairpin, but Justin Freshbot is much better on the brakes than some drivers. And
that Haas is an awful car.
That Haas is incredibly slow, but he is going to get DRS from the Williams, which is probably going to save him here. Up ahead, we've got the Ferraris and the Alpines battling. Max Verstappen just hanging around. Radiant Slothz chasing down still. Max Verstappen getting worried. He's not got DRS on the cars in front. And also,
luckily for Max Verstappen, it is two of the worst drivers on the grid behind him, so he should be okay.
And they're being spurred on by fear. We've got Guan Yu Zhou is gaining on these three. Can't quite see it. There he is.
Fresh spot. Just staying within DRS range of Max Verstappen. He needs that DRS or he will be easily overtaken. He may easily be overtaken anyway.
Radiant Slothz, he's going to have another go. Guan Yu Zhou, he's gained 3 tenths since we started watching this highlight. And it isn't going to happen this time for Radiant Slothz. Max Verstappen dropping back further. Carlos Sainz up to second place.
Right on the back of Max Verstappen now.
Amazing. He had much better traction out of the Wall of Champions. He's gained within half a second of the Williams.
The Haas all over the place there. Coming down the straight, that will cost him time. But he does have DRS again.
Surely Radiant Slothz can do it this time. Or is the low downforce setup not helping anybody here? Apparently not.
The Haas shoots out of the Wall of Champions. Will we see a move on the Williams?
Not quite.
No.
Not quite. We're just going to follow down. But Guan Yu Zhou now within 2 seconds. He's gaining on them. They are trying to run. Max Verstappen backing them up into the McLaren. And Radiant Slothz, he's sticking with it.
All over the place. May have hit the wall again.
Very, very close to the Haas right now. Guan Yu Zhou has gained half a second whilst we've been watching them. As we go on board the ass end of Radiant Sloth's car, you can see him. He's now just 1.2 seconds behind, going much faster. Now he's about to get DRS as well. I think he's done it. Guan Yu Zhou going to be having DRS. Radiant Sloth's going to have to give the hurry up here.
Is out of DRS range, but he might have been in it for the activation point.
He was.
He was. Just.
That might have just saved him. Guan Yu Zhou did not get DRS. Max Verstappen with a weird-looking weave there. He goes into the pit lane, which means that
this could be detrimental for Justin Freshpot. He's not going to have DRS on the next lap, and that Haas is slow.
They're both running. They've got a Mercedes power car behind them, and they know what's going to happen if they make a single mistake. Radiant Slothz goes slightly wide.
Box, box, box.
And Radiant Slothz is going to come to the pits with that McLaren right behind him.
Very close.
Justin Freshpot goes wide on the exit to the hairpin. Radiant Slothz goes up the inside.
He hits the Haas.
He has got past.
Various racial abuse. We're going to see both cars pit. Will Zhou pit as well.
Justin Freshpot tucked right in behind to try and protect himself. Oh, it's a massive
contact.
Massive
no damage
contact.
somehow.
Unbelievable. 2 lucky drivers there. A very unlucky speed limit side.
There's a massive crash. There's the Alpine goes into the Haas car.
A very unsafe release. That is not on. Another unsafe release.
Unsafe release.
The stewards
released into the Alfa Romeo. Literally.
The stewards have not even picked up on this. Unbelievable. Max Verstappen is still ahead of these two. Quite shockingly, if we see what's going on, this is the move on Radiant Slothz on Justin Freshpot going into the hairpin.
Goes wide to make the straight longer, but Radiant Slothz here clearly crashes into the Haas car, taking off its front wing. Justin Freshpot slips into the slipstream. He's got basically no car left after that contact from Radiant Slothz at the hairpin.
Apparently Radiant Slothz sees someone in his mirror, kept looking to the right hand side for whatever reason.
Here we're going to see again Radiant Slothz clearly smashing up Justin Freshpot's car. There it is. Massive damage now on the Haas. There's nothing he can do.
Justin Freshpot looking directly at the Alfa Romeo. He's got Guan Yu Zhou right behind him, so his only option was to come into the pits. 9 million G experience there. We see Bottas and Verstappen into the hairpin. They've compromised each other. Bottas loses the position.
He's made an overtake.
Unbelievable. He's going to get another one on Max Verstappen now. Justin Freshpot tucks in behind. Bottas is nearly contact.
Almost rear ends Bottas.
Max Verstappen vulnerable once again. This time it's not a Haas following him. It's a slightly less bad Alfa Romeo. Verstappen defends to the inside. Radiant Slothz is quite easily passed. And Justin Freshpot gets past Bottas. Oh no, Bottas comes into the pit lane.
What an overtake from Justin Freshpot. What a driver.
And now he's just 2 places away from the points. And look up ahead. There's 2 Aston Martins on track. So we're set for some points for Alfa Romeo, potentially for Haas. Although Guan Yu Zhou
now
is behind.
Under some high pressure from the McLaren. The McLaren all over the road. Justin Freshpot
massive
slightly
corner cut.
misses the corner. He's doing all he can. Guan Yu Zhou all over the place. Justin Freshpot's going to go down the inside, but the McLaren is already into the corner.
With some dirt being
There's
kicked
nothing
up
Justin
there.
Freshpot can do. Maybe he's let Zhou past in the hopes that he will attack Verstappen and slow him down. They're 3 wide up ahead.
There's lots going on. It looks like Giovinazzi is getting in everybody's way. Lance Stroll's come into the pits. There's Giovinazzi ruining this battle between... Oh, he's hit one of them! This Perez, he's hit Perez. Radiant Slothz capitalises. Gets past the incredibly slow Aston Martin. And chases down Yuki Tsunoda. A man who managed to get into a Ferrari after a very indecisive career at the start of these seasons. He's stayed there for a while now. A Radiant Slothz, unbelievably. If he might score 1 point if he stays where he is. He's got Guan Yu Zhou about 1.5 seconds behind him. As we watch the battle unfold, Alpine versus Ferrari, 2 very evenly matched cars. There's the Haas of Justin Freshpot sticking with the fight there.
Nikita Mazepin somehow 10 seconds behind all of this.
Amazing that Nikita Mazepin, put in a very good car, is still shit. As we follow the battle. Antonio Giovinazzi is into the pits. He's released all of these cars. This is the onboard of Radiant Slothz as he watched... Oh, it was Tsunoda that crashed into Stroll. Unbelievable.
Radiant Slothz here, racially abusing one of the fans. You have to say that is not something we want to see in the sport in 2021.
And as he continues on his way, he's going to have a good run at Yuki Tsunoda. However, DRS for all of them. You see Leclerc gets past Ocon up ahead. Amazingly, George Russell was winning this race at the moment. Quite
that
shockingly.
Could all change though when Lando Norris inevitably wins.
Of course,
as Radiant Slothz almost rear ends the Ferrari.
They get bunched up by he's on the grass for some reason, but Charles Leclerc.
Radiant Slothz all over the place here. Another corner cut. Almost hits the wall again.
Quite shocking. This is Justin Freshpot. He's got DRS on Max Verstappen. Nikita Mazepin, so bad of a driver, is even further behind him now. A car which is just not that fast. He goes up the inside of Verstappen. Verstappen defends, as he always does, hits the Haas. And they're going to carry on the fight. Verstappen up the inside into the chicane. Justin Freshpot.
A real ding-dong battle here. Justin Freshpot comes out ahead. What a driver.
And unbelievably...
He's got a lot of work to do, though.
They have not lost any time to Nikita Mazepin. In fact, even with the battling, they are still faster. As we see the Williams getting DRS. He twitches.
Justin Freshpot will somehow have to gain 5 seconds on a McLaren in 3 laps if he wants to even have a chance at getting points.
And Radiant Slothz still hanging on to 10th. Guan Yu Zhou only 1.5 seconds behind with 3 laps to go now. He's got Tsunoda in front of him still, and he's just not able to get close enough with that Alfa Romeo. Ferrari power unit is just not good enough. Some would say he's restricted by the abilities of the car right now.
The Freshpot very close to the wall there.
Verstappen up the outside.
Really pressuring the Haas. The Haas is going to push him wide.
These two have a habit of battling very intensely. It might result in impact. Max Verstappen doing
Max Verstappen
something
all
there.
over the place here.
He goes up the
Justin
outside.
Freshpot.
Oh, he closes the door. There's contact.
He's hit the Haas. He's hit the Haas. Max Verstappen crashing into Justin Freshpot. Justin Freshpot on the inside. He holds the position.
Oh, it sounded very emotional for you there, Nick, watching that Haas.
I'm a big fan of Justin Freshpot. What a driver.
But we're not biased.
I'm going to name my first son Justin Freshpot as we see him come into the hairpin again. He's slowing down Max Verstappen. He goes full throttle on the exit to try and pull away.
Zero wheel
Max
spin.
Verstappen all over the place.
He's looking.
Will he get past?
Looking for a seat. He's twitching all over the place. He's like
He's
peeking.
twitching with excitement at the thought of finishing P12. He thinks about a move up the
he
inside.
loves
He doesn't
it.
go for it.
He loves the thought. He's going to get another run into turn 1 on for
He's
the
thinking
final
about
lap.
it again. He's still twitching.
Oh, he's
going up the
bursting with
inside.
excitement. He's up the inside.
Justin Freshpot has the inside for the next corner. He crowds out Max Verstappen.
He's left the door open
He's
though.
still
Verstappen
ahead.
is going to get past him again.
Verstappen all over the place here. They're side by side again.
He forces him towards the grass. Max Verstappen, a catastrophic error there, challenging the Haas into that chicane. And it's cost him. This was the onboard of that intense battle for 12th.
You'd think they're fighting for the championship the way these two are going at it. Justin Freshpot on the inside. No contact, incredibly. Radiant Slothz could learn a thing from these two. Coming into the next chicane.
Max Verstappen disappears off the face of the earth in the braking zone and gets left well and truly behind. This is Radiant Slothz. He's still got half a lap left to try and get past one of these guys. I think if there was no DRS, he would have easily had Yuki Tsunoda behind him some time ago. As he comes into the hairpin, he's going to be late. He's very late on the brakes. Massive lock up.
He's turned that front right into a 50p pence. That's not going to be comfortable to drive
pence
on.
is definitely not a comfortable shape. He's run out of ERS in the chase. Guan Yu Zhou is still behind, so he's secured 10th place unless he crashes into the final corner. As he comes up, he's all over the place.
He's almost crashed into the final corner.
Power sliding.
But he does finish the race.
Unbelievable. 10th place, Radiant Slothz scores a point in a backmarker team, something that he's never been able to do. Justin Freshpot.
This battle
still
that these drivers
fighting
do not
Verstappen.
know is not for the championship. Justin Freshpot takes the tight line. Max Verstappen right behind him. Justin Freshpot tries to make the strip seam. Max Verstappen with DRS. Reaching speed of 12 kilometers per hour.
He's
Will
up
we
the
see a dive
inside.
on Max Verstappen? He's all over the place. Justin Freshpot cuts him off.
And they finished the race.
What has happened there? Justin Freshpot has teleported to finish ahead of Max Verstappen. What a driver.
Unbelievable. Max Verstappen taking the title there of world champion of not knowing when to quit. Guan Yu Zhou once again gets driver of the day.
Don't think he made a single overtake.
He takes a penalty, starts at the back and overtakes everybody. You gotta wonder why that is the award for driver of the day. George Russell becomes our third different winner this season. He's loving it. He's still got his Williams helmet on, but no one cares anymore. Red Bull certainly don't, because it matches the colour of the yellow circle on their logo.
George Russell, of course, the first Briton to win in Formula One. What a career.
There he is. His maiden victory. He shares the podium with Carlos Sainz, Mr. Consistent, started 5th in every single Grand Prix. Steve Coogan has orgasmed, and Daniel Ricciardo has a race where he finishes inside the top 10. A fantastic race for the New Zealander. Carlos Sainz extremely happy to be up there again. And that's all for the Canadian Grand Prix today. Of course, George Russell becoming another winner in this season, followed by Carlos Sainz and Daniel Ricciardo on the podium. A good finish for Daniel Ricciardo for once. They were followed by Lando Norris, Lewis Hamilton, Charles Leclerc, Esteban Ocon, Sergio Perez, Yuki Tsunoda, and rounding out the top 10, Radiant Slothz picks up a point for Alfa Romeo. So over in the Drivers' Championship, Lando Norris's lead has been slightly reduced, so George Russell has closed the gap to just 26 points. Then it's back to Charles Leclerc in the Ferrari, Carlos Sainz, Lewis Hamilton, Daniel Ricciardo, Yuki Tsunoda, Esteban Ocon, Sergio Perez and Guan Yu Zhou make up the top 10, although he is level with Max Verstappen and Lance Stroll. Further down in the order, Radiant Slothz now joins the other 16-point scorers, leaving just Antonio Giovinazzi, Justin Freshbot and Nikita Mazepin on 0 points. Over in the Constructors, Red Bull's lead has been extended once again. You can probably see where this is going this season. Then it's a jump back to Ferrari, Mercedes, McLaren, Alpine. Then it's Williams and Aston Martin tied on 18 points in 6th. Back 2 points to AlphaTauri in 8th, and then it's down to 9th and 10th for Haas and Alfa Romeo. We'll catch you in the next one.